Good night. It's Tuesday, 7 o'clock at night. We are back for one more show of the neighborhood news. If you are watching our show and it's not a Tuesday night, it's because you're watching a repeat show. So please come back next Tuesday at 7 o'clock and we have a brand new show for you. For the Portuguese listeners, sejam bem-vindos para mais programa de notícias da sua vizinhança. É terça-feira, 7 horas da noite. Está connosco a escutar mais programa de notícias da sua vizinhança. Não se esqueça, amanhã, 8 horas da noite, quarta-feira às 8 da noite, nós estamos no ar com o nosso programa em língua portuguesa chamado Amigos. Também, para a semana, nós vamos começar um novo programa de noticiários internacionais e locais e mundiais com duas apresentadoras portuguesas e eu vou estar a dirigir este novo programa. Fique conosco. I want to remind everybody that tomorrow, Wednesday, 8 o'clock at night, you can watch the Portuguese show, Amigos. It's going to air right here on Channel 95 every Wednesday, 8 o'clock at night. And if you are following us in Portuguese, next week we are starting a new Portuguese news show. And I hope that everybody will like the show. I hope so. This show, it's on the air for 4 years. Amigos is on the air now for 6 months. And we're starting a couple new shows. So, fique conosco. And I hope that you guys had a great show. Today we're going to talk, we have a round table. It's a half a table, but it's a round table.
Good.
It's a round table. And we have Botelho, Attorney Botelho. We have our friends from the Hill, Alan Silvia, Representative Alan Silvia. And we have Laura Diogo that already came to our Portuguese show. She was very nervous, so she's more relaxed today. This one, it's not in Portuguese, so she can handle this one. And we're gonna talk about veterans.
Yes.
Who's gonna start, Laura?
Sure, I can start.
I know you're the more nervous in here, so we're
So
gonna start with you.
me. What would you like to know?
Don't put us to sleep, please. Go ahead, give them everything you know.
Everything I know?
Yes.
In 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
So talk to us about this organization.
It's a nonprofit, 501c3. It's about 18 months old. And what I do is I assist the veterans in doing their medical disability claims. I do all the medical research, all the research on their bases to service connect any injuries or illnesses they may have. The community already know about the name. We're just going to talk a little bit today is about the service that they provide. Alan is part of the organization.
Well, Laura, I'm very pleased because, of course, our district office is opened just about every day. We're closed on Wednesdays and Sundays, but we're open Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And Laura is there, Veterans Guardian Angels, every Tuesday. And of course, she has been, over this past several months that she has been there, been helping scores of veterans who come in who need assistance with their disability claims. And she made it sound easy, but it's not. First of all, I'm the biggest critic of the Veterans Administration. I happen to be vice chair of the Joint Committee on Veterans and a Vietnam veteran. But I'm the biggest critic because they're very difficult to deal with, lots of regulation, and it takes so long to get a claim in. And when a veteran does it, usually they give up. And it's because of Laura's efforts and why it's so important, because she's there to make sure that the next step is followed through, whether it's legal services or assisting the veteran. And we have some of the same veterans come in every week. Recently, we had a 91-year-old, a World War II veteran, who had been denied services by the Veterans Administration. All of those years, 91 years old, finally, because of Laura's efforts, he was able to get a disability, and we're still working with him to increase that. But he's 91 years old. Yeah, you know, one of the great things about Massachusetts is our veteran services are above and beyond, I say, the best in the country, but we have a long way to go in the way that the Veterans Administration treats our veterans.
And it's another organization that's pretty much based on volunteers, and Laura has been volunteering pretty much her time for this. Now now you can see her in 2 locations, and that's at Alan's office and at Joe's office too. So can you tell us what days and hours people can visit you?
On Tuesdays, I'm at Representative Alan Silvia's office from 9 to noon. And on Fridays from 12 to 5, I'm with Attorney Botelho Law Group here in Fall River on Eastern Avenue.
She didn't call you?
I didn't call him by the other name today.
But it's important.
Going to be
It's important to get those. It's important to get those addresses to people as well.
Yes.
You know, we're at 1664 South Main Street, the corner of Dwelly and South Main, for veterans who want to come in for assistance when Laura is there on Tuesdays. And
Joe, 901 Eastern Avenue in Fall River, towards the end of the Brayton Ave zone.
Both sides of the city's covered.
Good.
So,
and I'm glad that you're on the Flint.
yeah, I visit all the time, but usually when I visit Flint, I usually call you first.
Yeah, exactly. Joe, sometimes you have, and you volunteering too for your time, but sometimes you have tough cases, you think?
We have a number of tough cases. Tough cases are really determined on the actual facts of the matter. The medical history we can get, well, actually, let's be honest, the medical history that Laura gathers for us. She does most of the groundwork, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it really has to do with that, and taking the personal time to handle, because a lot of the veterans have PTSD and other health issues, such as the gentleman that was here today. We had another lady who came in today who someone was trying to get a restraining order, and she's got PTSD very bad. So we had to go down to local veterans office to procure the money for her legal services. But my office also gives 15% off of all legal services to veterans, their spouses, their parents, and their children. So that affected them. And that's not just for veterans activities. So, and I had to volunteer my time to even get the money for her to pay for her own legal assistance. So it's nice to be able to be part of this community that of Laura and Alan, to be able to help people in this way. I mean, they've helped our country so much. It's a little time for us to be giving back.
And I think no other city like Fall River really puts a lot of effort to help veterans, and to mention veterans and to put dedication to veterans. Just this weekend was a dedication, I believe.
We now have, I filed a bill several months ago to make Fall River the Gold Star State, Gold Star Memorial, and that was unanimously approved by the legislature. And we did that unveiling of that memorial on Sunday. We had nearly 1,000 people there, and it was great to see veterans from all over the Commonwealth present. The folks who spearheaded that event did a great job. We had the Secretary of Veterans Affairs here, and we had the General of the Marine Corps, who's a Marine Corps General, who's Chairman of the Chiefs of Staff, visit Fall River. So, and of course, that's where we have the Iwo Jima Monument.
Exactly.
So, when you look at Battleship Cove and what that represents, World War II, really, and the Lionfish and the Kennedy, and the memorials now that we have with Iwo Jima and Gold Star, and all of that really is an educational location and a great attraction to tourism. But more importantly, and you hit on it, Carlos, is we probably do more in Fall River for veterans than in most places. Example, I give the story often where I speak to other legislators and they say, I tell them how many events I have on Memorial Day, and they say, God, we don't do that. We have one event. You know, other places, you know, they've done away with that. We just do one, and however, we have start early in the morning and we go to the evening. 10 events starting Friday and right through the weekend, usually because it's that important. I think, you know, for us to overlook a site whether it's World War II or Korean veterans who were often forgotten in the scramble because it was a shorter time period, Vietnam, World War II, you know, there are so few World War II veterans left.
And one of the things that I mentioned to Lara Napochki's show, Amigos, was the fact that when I was growing up, and the veterans was the Guinea, you know, was, I mean, we could count them. Now, veterans are very young, a very young age, and that's why we have so many. But they are so, they need help, but they don't look for help.
Right.
And that's what we need to turn around, because they deserve the help, because they did what they had to do, and now you know, they deserve to come for the help. And Lara, can you mention to us a couple of programs, couple of ways they can get help?
Medical disability is a lot of times when I mention medical disability, some veterans get confused. And basically what that means is money in their pocket every month. It takes a little while, like Representative Silvia did say, it takes a while. It can take 6 to 8 months if it doesn't go into an appeal. But that would mean monthly income for that veteran. And that takes a burden off their family, it takes a burden off themselves, so especially if they're unemployable and they can get that money in every month, so that's a help. There's dental insurance out there for veterans. If a veteran's 100% disabled, they can get their free dental through the VA. But if they're not, they're thinking, well, there's nowhere for me to go. That's not true. There are 2 plans that are out there that can cover themselves and their family at anywhere between $15 to $25 a month. That's a big deal. Dental is very expensive. There's also programs for the widows. A lot of widows don't know that once their husband or wife passes away, that they have the ability to still collect disability benefits, their insurance, health insurance. So there is a lot of things that they're not aware that they can get.
And from the states, how is the money being located for veterans and for services?
The state really doesn't offer monies for a disability for veterans. That's a federal program for all veterans throughout the United States. But the state has 2 soldiers' homes, you know, one in Chelsea, and I'm trying to think of the other off the top. In Worcester. We have been really in the forefront of passing legislation to improve the life of the veteran as far as is concerned with issues like, and probably the most important, we had learned that many veterans were being denied public housing. Really, the reason why public housing even started after World War II, those areas like Sunset Hill, Watuppa Heights, Maple Gardens, those actually were built because so many veterans were coming home from World War II. So many veterans were in Newport area, needed housing. So those areas were built by the federal government so that these veterans could live. Now we find that veterans are being denied public housing. Reason? They had too much income. They were supposed to be given preference in the first place, but because many of them have been receiving veterans disability, medical disability, it placed them over the top of the threshold, and they were being denied public housing. So through the legislature, we've passed a law in Valor Act 2 that gives them immediate placement in public housing, first preference, and the any monies received from a disability and veterans medical disability would be excluded from the calculation. So this opens the door to so many veterans who needed housing. We had veterans who were homeless. You know, that's a shame really when we think of Here's a person who served their country. They were in Iraq or Vietnam or even World War II, and they had no place to live. When we give millions of dollars to other countries, so we were able to do that in Massachusetts. Now again, only in Massachusetts that we make sure that public housing preference #1 goes to veterans, the way it should be. And then they'd be excluded. Any monies that they receive from a medical disability would not be counted under that threshold of a limit that you can make in public housing. So that's one of the better improvements that I'm very proud of that we were able to pass. But the list goes on. We've done a lot of focus with widows of veterans who were again being forgotten. Now depending a disabled veteran who has passed on, we assist the widow in ensuring that they have a lower tax rate. So there are a number of things that we're doing and constantly doing to improve the quality of life of veterans in Massachusetts.
Joe, when you get a case and you bring that case and you move with that case, if that case gets denied, I don't know if happened with any case that you tried to help Laura, is that the end of the line, or you can do something else?
Well, there are a number of different variables that'll control that. If we have any more information, we can always bring it. We can always bring it back again. Or, I mean, and Laura will tell you, we've moved forward on cases numerous times. Some people get denied 3, 4, 5 times before they get an attorney. I have a gentleman that came in today. He's positive for Agent Orange. What was it, Laura? All over his arms and legs. He's 84 years old. He's been denied for 60 years. He came in our office today, and he was just professing how thankful he was. He's in 60 years. He's never had a lawyer. And I was saying, you know, it's the hardest thing about these is really getting veterans the help of qualified professionals that are helping, because as long as they are disabled and we've got the medical records to do it, when you have an attorney on your side, the cases get, I don't want to say preferential treatment, but they know they're not just going to, you know, put it under the rug. They know someone's going to be scrutinized what the government's doing.
And I think that it's going to get worse. More and more veterans as the years going by, because you just mentioned, Alan mentioned a 91-year-old. You mentioned a 60-year-old that's been denied. You know, the veterans that are 30s now, 20 years down the road, they're not going to be a few. They're going to be hundreds of them. And so I think now is the right time for them to really get the dollars rolling and get the service.
And that's what's important about this, because it's about communications, it's about educating veterans. You know, so the more we get the word out, and Laura does, and Joe is, we get the word out through shows like this. I know Laura was on the radio today or earlier today. Were you today?
No, it was last week.
Last week?
Last week.
And so the more we communicate, right here at BCC, for example, I was able to file a bill, and through the help of my colleagues, Bristol Community College is receiving $100,000 for the Veterans Center. Now, the first place veterans come when they come back, they want to go to school. They don't normally go to universities. They don't go to state colleges. They don't normally go to private education. They go to community colleges. So it's important that there's a base here, a place for them to come, a place to talk with other veterans.
So where that money comes from?
That's state money.
That's the state money.
So we were able to secure that. So Bristol Community College is getting that $100,000 this year. We'll have a grand opening in the near future.
Because you know Diogo-Carreau, my VP from the Flint.
Yes.
He worked here at BCC under a grant. And the time that he worked in here, he helped a lot of veterans, you know, getting enrolled back in college and get them back in college.
There's a huge number of veterans that come here.
And I share a story with Laura on a Portuguese show that I think a 25-year-old came to him and said that if he's still alive was because his daughter saved his life, because she came on the room just in time to save his life. So it is a lot of people out there that need help, and people that go for war, they never come back. I mean, they could come back physically with arms and legs and eyes, but mentally, they never come back, and they will never be the same, because they were, and they saw stuff that, you know, that will, they will never forget for the rest of their
Everyone is
lives.
affected by their service, no matter where they were stationed or how, or whether they were actually in combat or not. They were all affected as a result of it. And we're seeing more now. PTSD wasn't even recognized. We started seeing that more with Vietnam veterans, and now, of course, quite often with Iraq and Afghanistan, those who served over there in the Middle East. But it's one of the major issues that we're looking at. Agent Orange, still a huge issue, but none of these issues, toxic water that I was exposed to at Camp Lejeune. You know, we learned that people who were at Camp Lejeune for more than 30 days suffered the result of toxic water. They didn't know the water was toxic, but obviously it was. It's been determined now. But the VA is not eager to say, oh, you're all set. We're going to give you a disability, basically. So none of it happens that way. People have to fight. Look, we had that 91-year-old. You have this gentleman that was in your office today. Here's a guy who is tested for Agent Orange. You don't get Agent Orange from you know, weed whackers or for putting chemicals on your lawn. You get Agent Orange because you're exposed to these chemicals that they used during wartime.
And wait until they start getting tests for asbestos, because you know, because asbestos was big, you know, years ago, and they were exposed to the asbestos, and all those going to start coming out now. You know, people are really sick from those. So where are we going from here with the organization? Its plans to. What's your plans, Laura?
My plans are to continue on. I want to grow. I do want to grow. I would like to at some point bring on other people into the organization to help me. Right now I am a one-woman show. I do my best to keep all the cases going. There's 54 cases going. I do my best to keep the communication between the veteran and the attorney's office going. I don't let, at the beginning I was not in the office with Attorney Botelho, so it was, I would go with the attorney to the, you know, to the veteran to the attorney's office. So I'd like to see it grow. I'd like to see more people volunteering to do so. I am in the process now of applying for grants, donations.
So if the veteran feels more comfortable being seen home on his house,
yes,
you can provide that to the veteran.
I can. I do like it so that they would come into the office, or someone come into the office and do a screening through the office for my protection also. But if I have an elderly veteran, which I did this week in Swansea, an 89-year-old quadriplegic World War II veteran, couldn't come to me in Fall River, so I went to see him.
And we have another one that you learned about just today because Clara called you.
Yes.
We have someone who lives on 5th Street. He's a Vietnam veteran who unfortunately has been disabled and weighs over 300 pounds. Broke his walker, has no walker, and doesn't know how to access and get that. That's what we're doing. So I've already had Bristol Elders going in to do an assessment, but this man can't get around. And he can't ambulate without a walker. He needs a walker. So it's those, but this man has gone a long time like that. You see, that's why we want people to know what can be done, because really getting a walker, we could do that in a jiffy. But there's other services that this person needs. Is he going without food? Does he need medication? Right. When's the last time you saw a doctor? You know, and this is a veteran who, in all probability, his disabilities are related to his time in the service. So it's important that we get those services to him and make sure that we can at least have him see a doctor and be serviced. But there's lots of people out there like that. That's what the amazing thing is. It's not a small number.
Yeah. Lara has good wings. Alan and Joe definitely, you know, it's people that can provide a lot of help to Lara. So, and what is good. It's always somebody out there willing to help.
There's no shortage of that in Fall River.
Exactly.
It's amazing, and you know, as president of Flint,
and
we have people everywhere that want to help in every way. So this is just another. Laura does an incredible job. I'm saying that people say, "Oh," but when I say thorough, because in most cases, but I'm saying that because it's true. But in most cases, people who are veterans would give up. They would quit and say, "I forget it." And I've talked to a lot of those people. Say, "Listen, I applied, I went to the VA, I had to wait 4 hours. I'm not doing that to myself again, forget it." And that's the attitude. And you know, you wonder, is that what they want? Is that what the VA wants? I don't think so. But the system is evolved that way, where it's so top heavy with billions of dollars being spent. And what aggravates me is those billions are not going to the veteran. You know, it's going to administration, and that doesn't fly right with me.
So on the case, if it's a veteran out there that had been denied before, so they should try it again and contact you?
Yes, they can contact me. The other thing important to know also is that the veteran doesn't have any upfront legal fees. The veteran doesn't pay a dime upfront. How the VA pays for the veteran. So at the end, when the award is received, the VA, then there's a calculation there that they receive, the attorney will receive an award or get paid from the award. So the veteran doesn't have to think, oh my goodness, I'm going to go into an appeal, I don't have 10, 15, 20,000 to do this. That's not a concern at the beginning. The veteran has to pay nothing.
Very good. And we are on the end of one more show. Gee, I made it one more. Joe, I don't know if you have anything to add?
I would just like to tell people that we're all up here doing this for veterans, volunteering our time, but the biggest thing that you could do is get on social media, share Alan's Facebook page, share the Veterans Guardian Angels page, share the page for my law firm, because it's not going to be you or someone you know closely. It's going to be that number 300 friend who never posts, you don't know, and that person's going to have a family member who's in crisis right now that can be helped with this organization. It's not just for the people you know directly. Just get the word out there, because most of these people, like the 84-year-old gentleman, 60 years with no legal representation, and it's not going to cost him anything. So it's just that people need to know, because there are people here, like Alan said, that are willing to help, but we need to connect with these people.
Very good. So, and we are out of time. Alan, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Need
Thanks,
to come
Joe.
back.
Thank
You
you,
need
Alan.
to come back to our show.
I will do that.
We're going to book that. Joe, thank you. And Lara, keep the good work.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next Tuesday right here at 7 o'clock at this channel. Thank you.